Kai von Schroth, Democratic strategist and lawyer, and John Hart, a Republican strategist. We appreciate both you guys for being here with me today.
You bet. Thanks for having us.
Let's begin with this Washington Post article, newly reported, titled, "White House Grapples with Internal Divisions on Israel-Gaza," talking about the fact that several White House officials approached senior advisors and senior administrators taking issue with the way that the Biden administration has handled this conflict. So I want to ask you first, Kai von, how big of a deal is this when you have a divided White House? Should this be something that concerns people, or is this not really that big of a deal?
I don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, it's not a divided White House. Joe Biden is the leader of that White House, and I think all good leaders should surround themselves with a diversity of perspectives. So I think it speaks to his character that he's willing to have people that express dissent and maybe express it loudly, and he's not running, an authoritarian show over at the White House, and we can't say the same for the former guys, so not too bad.
And John, in your experience, have you seen division among White House administrations in the past where it's similar, attuned to something like this that we're seeing?
Well, I think the Biden administration's response so far, frankly, has been schizophrenic. But it's fair to point out that there are schizophrenic voices on the right as well. I think the only clear-eyed voice on Israel and Hamas right now is Nikki Haley. Look, as a first step, you have to destroy terrorists who are themselves responsible for killing civilians. And so the best way to strengthen the hand of peacemakers on both sides is to destroy Hamas and give the people who want peace an opportunity to prevail. And what we're seeing with the Biden administration is they've actually done everything they can to go easy on Iran. They agreed to release $6 billion to Iran in a prisoner exchange deal. I think their energy policy is a stimulus program for Iran, and Iran is funding Hamas and these proxies. And so I think in order to contain and defeat Hamas, you also have to degrade Iran's ability to fund and support its terror proxies.
One thing about this article that caught me was just the clarity in which they were pointing out some of the atrocities of war that are natural, but in specific talking about the U.S. support for Israel, which has led to what they say the killing of more than 13,000 Palestinians, displaced hundreds of thousands of others, created a humanitarian disaster, and damaged America's moral authority in much of the world. And that last part of that sentence is what I want to focus on, the potential of damaging of America's reputation and moral authority in much of the world. So, Kai von, do you think that's a fair assessment in basically how the Biden administration has supported Israel, and then, of course, the reaction among global affairs?
No, I think what we're seeing here, whether it's the Israel-Hamas crisis or even the handling of the domestic economy, the Biden administration's approach is to keep its head down and do the work and not respond to the viral TikTok critique of the day. And we should all be thankful for that because it is dealing and resulting in success with the release of these hostages. I want to acknowledge the point that Nikki Haley is the only reasonable voice on this. I was shocked at that last debate that she listed her 3 priorities and she put getting the hostages released third. What we've seen in the past few days is that is Biden's #1 priority. And you just had that lieutenant on who gave Biden incredible praise for his essential role in negotiating this deal. So I think just the opposite. And in fact, it's a testament to the steady hand in the White House that this deal came through and that it's being extended.
Unfortunately, we have to leave it there. Kai von Schroth and John Hart, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.